The projects used for this hack are the Nursery Fun #1, the Free Heart and Ribbon project, pub sign #1, and the font used was Bookman. Oh, for this hack, we took a little bit of inspiration off an image that I saw online. So this is one for Mother's Day out there, or anytime you want to celebrate your mom, I guess. So we're going to go ahead and create a new file. And for this one, it's going to be 13 by 10. We're going to make it 0.75 inches thick. Make sure the datum's set to the center. It's going to be in inches, and we're going to use a very high resolution. We're going to click OK. So we're going to click over to our clip art tab. We're going to go to our design and make projects. And the first one we're going to do is we're going to go to the Nursery Fun #1, and we're going to double click on the button, and that will pop the button right in the center of our job space. Then we're going to go to the free Getting Started Heart and Ribbon project, and we're going to borrow the ribbon from that. And we're going to start off by laying out this part of the hack. We're going to press page up on our keyboard to split our view, and that way we can work on both the 2D and the 3D at the same time. So we're going to scale up our ribbon a little bit, and using our cursor keys, we're going to nudge it into place approximately where we want it to be. In this case, I want to leave enough of the holes of the button showing so that it looks like a button, which we don't want it not to look like a button. And there we go, right there. Perfect. Okay, great. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to rotate this up on its edge a bit. We just want to make sure that we have enough definition between the button and the ribbon. And that looks pretty good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our modeling tab, and we're going to hold down their shift key, and we're going to select both of those components. Right click, and we're going to group them together. And what that's going to tell VCarve Pro is that we want to treat these two components as one, but they are still independent. So we can ungroup them if we'd like to in the end. But this way I only have to, if we want to move it around or we want to add it to something, then we can group it up, or it's grouped up. Now what we're going to do is go back to our clip art tab, and we're going to go and get our last model from the pub sign #1 project, and that's going to be the plaque. And we're going to rotate this. We're going to grab this control point here, and we're going to hold down our shift key, and we're going to rotate it around until it's straight. And then we're going to hold down our shift key, and we're going to scale it up to almost fit our workspace, our job space. And I want to maximize the 3D view, and let's look straight down on it. Now, as you can see, the button and ribbon are merging into the actual plaque. So if we go to our modeling tab, we are going to right click on our button group, and we're going to change the combine mode to add. And then we're going to pull our plaque down underneath the button group. So the button group is being added on top of the plaque. And then what we're going to do is just going to quickly place the button where we want it to be, the button and ribbon group, where it wants to be. We're going to hold down the shift key, and we're going to scale it down. We're just going to approximate this, because once we lay out the text, then we'll know better where it needs to be. That looks pretty decent right there. Let's go back where it was. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure that this fits inside of our block of material. So we have a 3/4 inch piece of material we're going to be using, and we're only going to really use a half inch of that for our actual layout. So we're going to go ahead and double click on the plaque, and we're going to click again, and you'll see that the blue, solid blue control node here at the bottom, the transform node, will show up. We're going to click that, and we're just going to make sure that the shape height is a 1/2 inch. So let's delete that, press the space bar, and that means that this is a 1/2 inch. So now what we're going to want to do is make sure that the face of this ribbon is even with the top of this rim, which is at a 1/2 inch. So let's go ahead and click that. I still have to go to the button group here. And we're going to hover over. Now we're going to need to show our page up again, because we want the 2D view so we can see how thick this area is here on our plaque, just by hovering over it. And you'll see down at the bottom, right down here, the Z height will show up. So it's 0.16. We're going to round that up to 0.2. That's pretty decent. So we need to make sure that the heart and the ribbon aren't any more than 0.3. So 0.2 plus 0.3 is 0.5. So that will work. Perfect. Let's close that down. Now just to clean up our 2D view, we're going to select the plaque. We're going to right click on it. We're going to move the bitmap preview to the back. That way we can see everything where it should be, which is great because we're going to need that in a second when we go to lay out our text, which we're going to do right now. Let's maximize that. So we just see our 2D view, and now we're going to go ahead and lay out our text. Let's go to our drawing tab. We're going to select our text, and we're going to go ahead and we'll just use Bookman Old Style. That happens to be the font that I had there before. I know it machines our vCarves nicely, so that's great. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in the word mum, M-U-M, and we're going to click apply. Let's go ahead and close that down. Now mum is going to actually go on the ribbon here. So we're just going to, I'm looking at centering the center of that word on the center of my ribbon. We're going to go ahead and we're going to distort that. We're going to use the bounding box, and we're going to click apply. We're going to zoom in. Now when we first click that, these are straight lines. We're going to right click on those and we're going to change them to Bezier. That way we can actually bend the text to fit. We're going to grab those 4 nodes. We're just going to count using our cursor keys. That was 4. That 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just going to wiggle that into place so it looks decent where it should be. Looks pretty good. Okay, so just press, we're going to close that, and then we're going to press T on the keyboard, and we're just going to size that up just a little bit there. Fits that space a bit better. I think I moved it slightly, so I'm just going to undo that move. We're going to go ahead and grab the text again, and we're just going to rotate it just a little bit. Make sure it's on there nice. Perfect. So that's the first bit of text we're going to do. And now the next bit of text is going to go in here, so we're going to go back to our draw text button, and we're going to type in your like a button, you hold everything together. So you're like a button, you hold everything together. Perfect. And we're going to just go apply, and that will pop it in the middle. We're going to close that, and we're going to select it, and we're going to nudge it down using our cursor keys to where it needs to be. We're going to hold down our shift key and scale it to fit. That looks pretty good. We're going to keep it away from the edges a bit so that our vCarve bit doesn't hit the walls of the of our plaque. I think that looks pretty good. Great, so let's go ahead and do up some quick tooling for that to make sure everything works out okay. Oh, we need one more thing. We're going to need a vector of the outside of this plaque as a cutout pass, or for our cutout pass. So we're going to go ahead and go to our modeling tab, and we are going to create a vector boundary from selected component. That's perfect. Let's hit page up again, and there now we can see both of our views again. And we're going to open up our toolpath tab. Unhook that one, unclick that one. Now let's go ahead and start off with setting up our material. So it is a 3/4 inch piece of material. The datum's in the center. We're going to make sure our gap is at the bottom, and these settings are all the same. And we're going ahead and we're going to click on our roughing pass. So we're going to use a selected vector. So we got to go over here and select our vector. We're going to use the 1/4 inch end mill, which is great. We're just going to use all the default settings, and we're going to go ahead and calculate that. We're going to preview that toolpath. Let's see what we have. Wonderful. Let's close that. And now we're going to go ahead and do a finishing pass. We're going to click that, and we're going to use the 1/8 inch. Paul knows, use that selected vector again, where you have an offset boundary just slightly. And that's going to be great. We're going to calculate that out. vCarve will work some magic. Great, let's preview that toolpath. See what it looks like. Looks really good. We had left enough room between the top of the button and the edge of the plaque so that the cutter got in there nicely, so that's great. Let's close that, and let's go ahead and grab our text. And we're going to do a vCarve pass. We're going to use the 9-degree cutter. This is all good. And all we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we project it onto the 3D model. We're going to calculate that. And vCarve is going to give us a nice tool path for that. So let's preview that tool path. Wonderful, looks good, got all the letters. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do our cutout pass. So we're going to close that down, and to do that we're going to use our profile tool path. We're going to make sure we grab our outside vector. We're going to, our start path, because we've already gone down through half an inch of our material, we're going to make it 0.5. And the cut depth is going to be the remaining 1/4 inch. So there we have it. We're going to use our 1/4 inch end mill. And normally we put tabs on it, but in this case I don't want the tabs on it because I want to be able to delete my waste material. And we're going to go ahead and calculate that. Let's preview that tool path, and then we can double click on the waste material. Let's maximize our 3D view, and there we have it. Mom, you're like a button, you hold everything together. It's perfect.